Something you should always carry on your truck is peanut butter. Good. Hey guys, so I'm on my 30-minute break right now, and I figured I would answer a couple of questions, or at least one question that was given to me by a guy that messaged me on one of my videos. So he's a subscriber, he's a viewer of Mogul Media. This video is for you. So he asked me 3 questions. The first question he asked me was, can I do recap hours? Or can I explain recap? And I said, yeah, I can do that. I've made a diagram. It's very nice. Blue. It's very confusing because it's all blue right now. So I've got black pens and red pens, and when I get a chance, I'm going to remake that diagram, and then we're going to talk about recap hours. The second question that he asked me was, what were your favorite routes when you were with England, and what are your favorite routes now? And I like that question. So I will answer that one as well, but not today. The one that I really want to answer today is, what made you want to be a truck driver, and what keeps you going? So that question is a great question. And for a lot of us that are out here, it doesn't make any sense sometimes, like why we want to do it. But what keeps me going is a really good question too. What caused me to be a truck driver was probably, I was a kid and I just loved anything with wheels. Cars, trains, trucks, whatever I could see. And I've always liked old cars, I've always liked trucks, I've always liked trains. And I thought truck driving was like the coolest job. You could travel the country, you got to drive a big truck that made a lot of noise and belch smoke and everything. And it was a job. How cool was that? And it didn't help that Smokey and the Bandit or Convoy, movies like that, helped to glorify being a truck driver. And so I think I saw that, and really that is kind of what caused it, what created that urge to come out here and be a truck driver. I put it off for a long time. I ended up thinking, as you grow up in school, what you're really taught is there's only one real path to success. And that path to success is you have to go out and you have to get an education and you have to go to college and then you have to get married and then you have to buy a house and then you have to have 2.5 kids and 3 cars and 5 dogs and 6 cats or whatever. And it's not true. Your happiness comes from whatever you enjoy doing the most. And I really, really enjoy doing this. So I was stuck in that idea for a long time that I needed to build my life first. And when I finally realized that I didn't need to, I could pretty much just do what I wanted to, that's kind of when it hit me. I was 30 when I decided I was going to be a truck driver. That I was definitely going to do it. Wanted to do it since I was a kid. Everybody knew it. They were always like, what happened to being a truck driver? And I was like, it's got all this bad connotation. It's got all these bad things about it that you don't want to get into. And so they said, well, okay. And I guess that made sense to them. Well, it was always in the back of my mind. I always wanted to do it. I started to do it in 2005. Had a family emergency and couldn't do it then. And I started to do it again after I came back from the family emergency. I had to go to Idaho for the family emergency. And then after I came back, I was going to do it again and miss the class or something. And so I decided to wait. And then my grandmother needed my help at that point. So I ended up waiting anyway. But I was 30 and I was taking road trips on a regular basis. My days off from work were fill up the tank, go drive 400 or 600 miles a day, and just come back and just make this big loop. And I've covered everything within a 200-mile radius of Dallas at this point. And I remember coming back at one point. I was going up 45 from probably Corsicana or somewhere down in that direction. And I'm coming up 45, and I looked over, and there's this blue Freightliner or Peterbilt or something, and I'm passing him. And he had one of these windows like this right here. And I remember looking at that window thinking to myself, God, that's going to be great. Waking up every day in some other, location. And I figured he was stopping at places like this where we are now, which is a really nice rest area. I think we're in Alabama. Yeah. And I figured that's where they were stopping all the time. I, didn't realize they were stopping at truck stops all the time. But, so, I remember looking at that, and then like his window thinking that, and the voice in the back of my head goes, if you don't do it now, you never will. And that voice was so strong, and it just stuck with me. You know, I ended up going back to work, and the next day thinking about it 2 days after that, thinking about it 3 days after that, you know, and weeks on, and then work got really stressful. And that voice is still there. If you don't do it now, you're never going to. If you don't do it now, you're never going to. If you don't do it now, you're never going to. And finally, the stress of work got to me, and I quit. And I walked out and decided that I was gonna be a truck driver. By God, I was gonna do it, because if I didn't do it now, I was never going to. And I, you know, applied to a couple of different companies and ended up finding out what England Steel was compared to everybody else, and decided it was a great deal and went that direction. And I became a truck driver. And that's really how it happened. What keeps me out here is really, really simple. One, I love my job, and two, I love how much money I make. I came from a poor background where we didn't have a lot of money on a regular basis. And we did without a lot of stuff. You know, we did get some stuff that we needed, but, you know, there were times when you had a choice between paying the electric bill, the water bill, and the house payment. And, you know, we would my mother would rotate through those bills. You know, it would be, you know, the electric payment this month, the next month 2 months worth of water, and the next month 2 months worth of electricity, so on and so forth. And sometimes things got shut off. So to have an opportunity to get to the point where I can make as much as I'm making now was amazing to me, and it was really honestly the easiest path towards making as much as I'm making. And I think I've gone into that, like what I'm like in the England video, like what I'm making now or whatever. But so I'm not going to go over it again. But though, I mean, that really is what it is. Now, beyond that, I mean, if I take the money away from it, would I still do it? Probably. It helps that I can pay all my bills at home, that I can pay my rent, I can pay my electric bill, my car insurance, all my bills, and not have to really worry about it, and still have money left over at the end of the month to spend on whatever I want. Like that backpack right there. It was like $20 at the truck stop. It's an awesome backpack. So, that really is why I'm here. It's why I'm doing what I'm doing. And it's what keeps me going, honestly. And I can't imagine, after being a truck driver and going home and running locally and then coming back out on the road, and now with the dog and the cat, I can't imagine really doing anything else. And this is probably what I'm going to do for the rest of my life. It'll be eventually in my own truck, and hopefully you guys will be along for that ride. It's going to be a couple of years before that happens. But that's it. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to comment, like in the comment section down here. And then I have an email. I have an email, and I'm going to put it right here in the bottom right now. And I'm not sure which email it's going to be. Not that that matters to you guys, but it's going to be right here. Okay. If you have questions or comments, or you want to contact me for any reason, read that get in touch with me through that email. You know, because I'll be checking it on a regular basis. And nothing rude, crude, or socially unacceptable, though. All right. And watch your P's and Q's. Remember, my mother watches these videos, and I'd prefer her not have to put up with rude comments. So anyway, that's it. You guys keep the shiny side up. I'll see you down the road.